when you say failure is not acceptable, you're also making the error of not being clear about the different kinds of failure. There are 3 types. If you want to take risks, you want to be bold, you want not to have basic failures, not to make mistakes in known territory. No, the way you avoid that is by training, by coaching, by encouraging, by helping people deliver on that which we know how to do well. Take the Toyota production system. And then, of course, there are complex failures. We saw an awful lot of these during the pandemic, and these are also not good. These are failures in relatively familiar territory where a number of factors that never came together in the exact same way before come together and create the kind of perfect storm and make something go wrong. Again, this happens in hospitals where I've done so much of my research a great deal. But with psychological safety, we can catch, correct, and prevent. And then finally, here are the kind that we in fact need to feel good about. These are the intelligent failures. These are still undesired, but they weren't knowable in advance. In fact, they were technically speaking not preventable in any way, shape, or form. So it's tempting to say, okay, let's just have failures and call them all intelligent. Not so fast. There are criteria here. A failure is only intelligent if it's it's exploring an opportunity, right? We really do believe there's some opportunity for innovation or making things better or quality improvement here. It's in new territory. You can't just look up the recipe and use it. Key assumptions or hypotheses are explicitly articulated to all. The plan will test them. And importantly, the cost and the scope are as small as possible. Right? And of course, you learn from it, right? Only if you can say yes to these 5 criteria can you call a failure intelligent. But this, of course, is where innovation does come from. So rethinking excellence in an uncertain world, we're assuming uncertainty, conflicting criteria, enabling and learning, taking bold risks, knowing that sometimes we'll get it wrong simply because of the nature of reality. So excellence today, do your very best to reduce basic failures to near zero. Do your very best to anticipate and mitigate and try to prevent the complex failures. Then do your very best to make it safe enough for people to have more, not fewer, but more intelligent failures, because that is where innovation comes from. And that can only be happening with psychological safety. So this is your quick and dirty test, right? If you wonder, is my team psychologically safe? And you live and work in an uncertain, complex, ambiguous world, ask yourself, on average, am I hearing more good news or bad? Am I hearing more progress or problems? Statements or questions? Right? All's well, requests for help. And if you are slanting toward the left here, it is probably not a good sign. It's probably a sign that people do not feel psychologically safe enough to come to you with the truth. A leader, a CEO who understands that deeply is Mark Costa, an HBS alumnus who came to my class a few years ago, and halfway through sort of talking to the students, he said, my greatest fear as CEO is that I won't hear the truth, that people won't be telling me the truth. Knowing that is the first step, right? Knowing that you are at risk, whether you're the CEO or a team leader, that you are at risk of being the last to know. Too bad Boeing didn't know that. Too bad Winterkorn didn't know that. Then he goes out of his way to do the things I'm about to describe that make this not happen in his organization. So here they are. This is and leadership, by the way, is a behavior. It's a set of activities. It's not a role. That means anybody can do this. A peer can do this too, but many of my examples will come from people in very senior leadership positions. 3 things you gotta do: frame the work, invite participation, and respond productively.